Today, let us discuss about the importance of language in society and in culture. Let us first define what is language. Language is primarily spoken, not written. Language is the key to human lives. They eliminate misunderstanding by using it as an instrument to transfer communication among people. Malinowski suggests language is the necessary means of communion. It is one indispensable instrument for creating the ties of the moment without which unified social action is possible. Language can thus be said to be the core of humanity. Language is an extraordinary gift of God. It is part of what makes man fully human. In fact, Aristotle says man is a rational animal, and what set him apart, what raised him above the animals, is that he has ability to reason. And it is very clear that he cannot reason without language. Language is necessary in order for man to be a rational creature. The legend of the Babel's Tower tells that the very beginning of the world, the human being had only one unique language. Now, there are over 5,000 languages in the world, but on the other hand, around 25 languages die every year. The role of language in culture and society. Language is the means of conveying ideas to others. This can also to a certain extent be done by the use of gestures and signs. For instance, nodding of the head as a substitute for the word yes, or shaking the head from side to side instead of saying no. Language is different from signs and gestures because it employs sounds which have meaning for the user as well as the hearers. The basic information of language is to communicate information some kind or other. Propaganda of all kinds and even deliberate misinformation could come under the term information. In order to describe the word and the reason about it, people make use of the true or false preposition, correct or incorrect arguments, and pass on information which may or may not be important. It becomes evident, however, that language is informative in function. Language is used to inform others, to ask them to do a certain things and to express feelings, moods, ideas, information, experiences, etc. Language undoubtedly has a very important social purpose because it is mainly used for linguistic communication. It is difficult to envisage a society without language, which is the basis of human progress. It is the flesh and the blood of human culture. Language is an extremely complex and highly versatile code that is used to communicate thoughts, desires, and experiences to other persons. It is central to one's identity as an individual and as a marker of social group. The use of a particular language variety identify each of us as a belonging to a particular social group. Language, like society, is constantly evolving and subject to growth and change in much the same way as a living organism. Language is different from sign language even amongst humans at any point of social and biological evolution. It restricts itself to recognize expression and communication to or from human beings by means of speech and hearing, and is distinct from sign, gestures, and sounds produced by animals and pets to convey a particular feelings or emotion. Language also has an expressive function. Expressive function is best demonstrated by poetry. When composing a poem, a poet is not really concerned with passing on information. Poets attempt to communicate their personal feelings and sentiments. Expressive language is used not just by poets, but by all people when they are keen on giving expression to their deep and innermost feelings. In chanting prayers, devotees make use of this function of language in order to give vent to their feelings and awe and adoration. Language is a prerogative of man and distinguishes him from animals. Man is a social animal by virtue of language. Society and language are correlative terms. Language is a social product, springing up with the first community, developing with the increasing needs of culture and civilization, and disappearing when society disappears. Language does happen to be a great force of socialization. Language carries culture, and culture carries particularly through orative and literature. The entire body of values by which men come to perceive themselves and their place in the world. Language itself is a mirror of society. The values of society can be reflected in its language. One way in which this happens is through taboo words. Taboo is concerned with behavior which is supernaturally forbidden, regarded as immoral or improper. In language, taboo words refers to words not said or not used. In fact, taboo words reflect the values and beliefs in a particular society. Language also has a great role to play in cultural accumulation and historical transmission. Proverbs, medicine formulae, standardized prayers, folk tales, standardized speeches, songs, texts, or some of the overt forms which language takes as a culture-preserving instrument. Language and nation building. Language is known to be as old as human society, whereas the concept of nation is of fairly recent origin. Language facilitates social communication and helps nurture mutual cooperation. Nation is a product of intense social communication and cooperation. Language helps society to keep evolving. Language has allowed for societies to be built not upon strength and physical domination, but on cooperation and the exchange of ideas. Language is omnipresent throughout human history today. Without language, men would have been like apes, pointing fingers at what they see.